iconic Battle of the Pacific, in which the United States Marine Corps and Navy landed on and eventually captured the island of Iwo Jima from the Imperial Japanese Army during World War II. The American invasion designated Operation Detachment had the purpose of capturing the island and its two airfields, Southfield and Central, that were unable to make it back to routine. The second was to have airfields for shorter range fighters to be staged to provide extended fighter coverage to bombers fighting the war in the Pacific. The island could also serve as a staging point for future attacks on the Japanese mainlands. The 5-week battle was some of the fiercest and bloodiest fought of the Pacific War. The Imperial Japanese Army was comprehensive fortified defense network of tunnels. The American ground forces were supported by extensive naval artillery and had complete air supremacy provided by U.S. Navy and Marine Corps aviators throughout the battle. Japanese combat deaths numbered 3 times the number of American deaths. Although unique among all Pacific War Marine battles, American total casualties fighter pilots to intercept long-range B-29 Superfortress bombers. In addition, it was used by the Japanese to stage air attacks on the Marianas Islands from November 1944 through January 1945. Capture of Iwo Jima would eliminate these problems. The tanks would be available for B-51 Mustang fighters to escort and protect Allied bombers. American intelligence sources were confident Iwo Jima would fall in 1 week. In light of the optimistic intelligence reports, the decision was made to invade Iwo Jima, and the operation was given the new name Operation Detachment. American forces failed to anticipate the complex and deep Japanese defense, much like on Peleliu in the fall of 1944. The Japanese had been preparing for this battle since March 1944, which gave them a significant head start. Japanese preparation was so successful it was discovered after the battle that hundreds of tons of Allied bombs and thousands of rounds of heavy naval gunfire had left most Japanese defenders undamaged and ready to inflict losses on the U.S. Marines. By the time of the landing, about 450 American ships were located off Iwo Jima in the waters we're sailing in this morning. The entire battle involved about 60,000 U.S. Marines and several thousand U.S. Navy Seabees. Associated Press photographer Joe Rosenthal's image of the raising of the U.S. flag on top of the 554-foot Mount Suribachi by 6 U.S. Marines became an iconic image of the battle and an American war effort across the Pacific. Raising the flag on Iwo Jima, as this photo is titled, is a black and white photograph taken by Rosenthal depicting 6 Marines from Echo Company, 2nd Battalion, 28 Marines, raising the U.S. flag atop Mount Suribachi on February 23rd, 1945, which was the second of 2 flag raisings on that site the same day. The photograph became the only photograph to win the Pulitzer Prize for photography in the same year as its publication, and ultimately came to be regarded as one of the most significant and recognizable images of the war. It is perhaps the most reproduced photograph of all time. The flag-raising picture was later used by Felix de Walden to sculpt the Marine Corps War Memorial, which is located in Washington, D.C., adjacent to Arlington National Cemetery. 3 of the 6 Marines depicted in that photograph, Sergeant Michael Strank, Corporal Harlan Block, and Private First Class Franklin Sousley, were killed in action on Iwo Jima days after the flag raising. The Medal of Honor was awarded to 22 U.S. Marines, 12 posthumously, and 5 U.S. sailors, 2 posthumously, for actions in the Battle of Iwo Jima. For perspective, these 22 Marine medals represent 28% of the total 82 Medals of Honor awarded to United States Marines throughout World War II.
Marine Corps is the only Medal of Honor recipient from the Battle of Iwo Jima and of the Pacific Theater who survives today. He and Charles Coolidge, a U.S. Army recipient who was awarded the Medal of Honor for actions in Europe, are the only living Medal of Honor recipients from World War II. Williams was the youngest of 11 children, born and raised on a dairy farm in Quinndale, West Virginia, one of those 30,000 towns smaller than USS America and the 31st Mu together. At birth, Williams weighed 3.5 pounds and was not expected to live. His mother named him after the doctor who arrived at the farm several days after his birth. By the time he was 11, his father had died of a heart attack and several of his siblings had died of a flu pandemic. He worked a series of odd jobs in the area, including as a truck driver and as a taxi driver. When Pearl Harbor was attacked, he was working in Montana as a civilian conservation corps enrollee. Williams was drawn to the Marines by the dress blue uniforms that he'd seen several men in his community wear. He called the Army's brown wool uniform, quote, "the ugliest thing in town. I decided I did not want to be in that thing. I want to be in those dress blues," unquote. Aside from the appearance of that uniform, Williams knew nothing of the Marines. Standing 5'6", when Williams tried to enlist in the Marine Corps in 1942, he was turned away, too short for service. After the height regulations were changed in early 1943, he successfully enlisted in the Marine Corps Reserve in Charleston, West Virginia. He landed on the beach at Iwo Jima on February 21st as a corporal with the 1st Battalion, 21st Marines. Williams distinguished himself 2 days later when American tanks trying to open a lane for infantry encountered a network of reinforced concrete pillboxes. Pinned down by machine gun fire, his company commander improvised attaching a high explosive charge to a pole, and with the support of Corporal Williams, his flamethrower, and several Marine riflemen, they shoved the improvised weapon into an opening in the enemy's pillbox and fired, killing all the soldiers inside. Williams was the only member to emerge unscathed from the first attack, and then returned 5 times to his company area to refuel his weapon and move forward to destroy remaining pillboxes. Covered by only 4 riflemen, he fought for 4 hours under terrific enemy small arms fire and repeatedly returned to his own lines to prepare demolition charges and obtain serviced flamethrowers. Turned to the front frequently to the rear of hostile emplacements to wipe out one position after another. These actions occurred on the same day that 2 flags were raised on Mount Suribachi, and Williams, about 1,000 yards away from the volcano, was able to witness the event firsthand. He fought through the remainder of the 5-week-long battle, and after being wounded in the leg